Good evening and welcome to Cooking with Michael. I want to take a moment to say thank you all who watched last week's episode. I hope you got a chance to try the shrimp creole, make it, see what you thought. And I also got a chance to look back, if you haven't seen some of the previous videos, take a chance to look at some of the other episodes. We're really excited about it, and we're continuing to grow. We continue to get more subscribers every week, so we're really excited about this. Of course, if you know anybody who you think would love the show, share the link. Have them subscribe and comment, because obviously the more subscriptions, the more comments, the more we can grow this brand and the more we can grow this channel, and the more we can do this, something we love to do. So again, I want to say thank you. This episode, post-Thanksgiving, of course, after all the turkey you probably had over the last couple days of leftovers and whatnot, tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make paella. Paella is a Spanish word. It comes from the Valencia region of Spain. Okay, it actually means frying pan, but it's a rice dish that's made multiple different ways. Our way that we're going to make it is a little bit unique because we're not going to use a saffron that most recipes call for, things like that, and I'll show you all of that. As we continue to go through the recipe, you'll see how we're doing things just a little bit different than your traditional paella recipe. I want to give just a quick idea of why paella. So we're lucky enough here in Maryland, where we live, to live in a very eclectic area. So there's a lot of different restaurants and a lot of different people that we've been able to meet who've shared a lot of different recipes with us. So it's been great. I get to try a lot of different foods. I'm from Pittsburgh, and when I left Pittsburgh, didn't really ever hear of a lot of these things. I never heard of paella before I left Pittsburgh. Come down here, and a friend of mine that I met down here turned me on to a local restaurant, a small restaurant, El Salvadorian restaurant, and they make paella. And they told me I have to try it, and it was fantastic. So I went on a search for paella to learn how to make it, to learn what ingredients are used, and then make it my own. So that's what you're going to see tonight is my own paella, and I hope you really, really like it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope you'll continue to watch. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pause. When I come back, I'll show you the beginning parts of the paella, and we'll go from there. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. We're going to start with the actual paella part before we get with the seafood. Again, the restaurant that we went to when I first moved here really kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different recipes. The restaurant, of course, I'll mention it. It's my favorite bar. It's my favorite small restaurant to go to in the area, Azteca. I'm going to move this back up here a second. It's called Azteca. It's actually it's just a great place to go, where everybody seems to know who you are and they treat you like family. And of course, during this pandemic, they've had a rough go of it with the lockdowns and with the reduction of people. So we continue to get some takeout and things like that when we're not doing date night, but I want to mention them and mention all the hardworking people at Azteca and how they've really been a family to us and really showed us some great dishes and more dishes as we go on, you'll see. So not their recipe, because like I said, I went out and I basically looked for a recipe and kind of built my own. So hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to turn this back down. I'm going to show you how we do it. All right, let me turn that back down. All right. So what we have here is we have, again, as we said, paella means frying pan. I'm actually going to use a saucepan because I don't have, there's actually a paella pan that paella is typically made in. We don't have one of those. We have this. So, again, it works for me. But real quick, I'm going to also, if you watched last week, you knew I had a kidney stone, but it's a lot better. So I'm back to my Pinot Grigio. So I'm going to take my sip of Pinot Grigio, and we'll get started. And of course, shout out and thank you, Andrew. He's kind of missed me over the last week or so because I haven't been in, but about a week and a half or so. But we're back to the wine, and life is good. So we're going to start off with the skillet. We're going to take the lid off, and we are going to just turn it. We're going to turn it to basically a medium to medium high. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to a couple of things. We're going to take some olive oil, and I'm going to grab my olive oil that I got from Aldi. All right, I'm done with that. for right now until the next time I do it. All right, let me move that back up. There we go. All right, I'm going to take this, and it calls for about 2 tablespoons. As you probably have noticed through my episodes, I do not really measure. I just put some in there. Maybe a little more than that. Okay. So I'm going to let that start to heat up, and then I'm going to take in a cup and a half of rice. Okay. I'm going to wait till that heats up just a minute or two. I'm not going to let it get real hot before I put this in. But I'm going to take a cup and a half of rice, and I'm going to use my half cup measuring cup to do this with. So let that get a little bit warmer. Kind of move it around the whole thing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cook the rice partially in here. While that's going and heating up, we also going to need 2 cups of chicken broth. Now you can buy the chicken broth already prepared, or you can do what I do. I use powdered chicken broth. As I said earlier, we are lucky to live in a very eclectic area, so I went to a Hispanic market for this, and I got my chicken bouillon powder. It's basically a very large powder. And of course, 1 teaspoon equals 1 bouillon cube. So, and it's 1 bouillon cube to 1 cup of water. So, I've already taken the liberty of making it. I'll show you what it is ahead of time. Doesn't take very long, but just 2 cups of water, 2 teaspoons of the bouillon powder makes a nice chicken broth. Okay. So now we can go ahead. Now that's been just long enough, we can go ahead and put the rice in. So we're gonna measure the rice. Again. Cup and a half. So I'll take my half cup measuring, and I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to do it 3 total times to get a full cup and a half of rice, which will make, when it's all done, just like when you do rice in a steamer or boil it or whatever you do, it'll turn into 3 cups of rice, which is fine. So put that in the sink, and I'm going to put my rice over here. Now, then I'm going to take... and the recipe will actually call for onions, actually chopped up onions. If you've watched before, and I hope you have, you probably know that I'm not a big fan of chopping up onions. So I use onion powder, again, Aldi brand. I take it, and I literally just shake it in there. It's really to taste, but because it calls for, a little bit of onion powder, or a little bit of onions, I'm going to put a little more onion powder, again, to taste. Okay? And then as that does, I'm going to start to stir this. Okay? And while, real quick, you saw that my pan, of course, has been used and does have some dark spots. I want to mention one of my viewers did give me an idea of how to clean that bottom of the pan off, because this is a stainless steel pan that has a stain on it. So I'm going to try it just so, if you're watching tonight, the viewer who gave me that, I'm going to try it after we're all done, and I'll let you know if it works. I'll message you back and let you know if it works. But I do thank you for that tip on how to get the bottom of the pan clean. So anyway, just something it's great to mention when you have people who are watching the show, fans watching the show, whatnot, giving you different ideas, giving you different suggestions on things you could do. Whether it be the food, whether it be recipes, whether it be ways of doing what you're doing, or ways of cleaning. I'll do whatever. It's great. We try and incorporate many of the ideas into our shows, and that's just how we do it here on Cooking with Michael. So. It's not all about me. We've said it a million times. We give you the blueprint, and we hope that you'll find a little bit of your own way. So, anyway, I'm going to let this cook a little bit. You really want to do this until the rice gets just a hint of brown. You don't want it to burn, and that's a big thing. You'll hear me talk pretty much every episode not to walk away from the food while it's cooking, because you don't want it to burn. But I'm going to let it sit there for a minute. I'm going to grab a little bit of my Pinot Grigio and take a sip. Or 2. All right, and back to stirring. It's funny, real quick, also. This will probably be the last time you see this stove in our kitchen on our episodes. We do a lot of cooking, and unfortunately this one, the computer broke on it, so the broiling part of the oven is not working, and on the higher temperatures in the oven doesn't work. The stove works fine, but the oven itself isn't working, so we did order one. It was supposed to come this week, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, it has been delayed. So we are expecting it on Tuesday, and we hope that it will actually come so we can do some other things in the oven and in the stove. If not for this episode, but just, of course, to, eat in our house. So anyway, we're looking forward to it. It'll be a nice addition a nice new addition to our show. And I don't think I'll christen it with a bottle of, champagne or anything, but I'll probably show it off a little bit when it does come. So we're kind of excited about it. All right, so it is getting brown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause us, and I'm going to let it brown a little more. It does take about 5, 7, maybe 8 minutes to fully brown. So I'm going to pause us, and I'll come back, and we will go with the next step. Hold on a second. All right, we're back. As you can see, it is browning nicely. So give it another couple of stirs. You want to keep stirring it through the entire time of the browning process, again, because you don't want it to burn. And it will burn very easily. So if you walk away for any length of time, or you let it sit in one way without stirring it, it will burn, and it will affect the taste of the rice. So anyway, we're just about there. We've got a nice brown hue to the rice. And next thing we're going to do is we are going to pour in our chicken broth. So 2 cups of broth, we just pour it in there. And that gives you a lot of steam, so that's, I'll put this back over here. So we're going to stir that a little bit. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stir in, and this is really where it gets interesting. So, as I said, many of the recipes you'll see online will call for saffron or some other spices, paprika, something to change the color. We're going to make it real simple. You can see it's boiling, and we'll turn it down for that. We're going to use 1 cup of chunky salsa. That's right. 1 cup of chunky salsa. That gives you the spices. You can use mild or medium. I tend to use mild because I like the flavor a little better than the spiciness. But you can use mild or medium. I wouldn't use hot, primarily because I think that's going to be too hot. And as we always talk about, symphony, not a solo. You do not want to overpower one flavor to the next. So you want to be able to make sure all the flavors complement each other. And mild or medium salsa will complement just fine. So what we do is we mix that salsa in. That's going to give the rice that yellowish color from cooking, and as well as give you all the flavor. So you don't have to put a ton of seasonings in. You don't have to chop a ton of vegetables. No peppers, no tomatoes, no other onions, things like that. So we put that in. We stir it until it's nice and mixed up, and then we turn down to low because you can see it's boiling. Turn on to low, and we put a lid on it. Okay, make sure it's on low. You will stir a little bit in the beginning. But then you're basically going to let it sit until it cooks all the fluid away. So let me go ahead and put this back up. All right. Hello. How you doing? All right. So we're going to let that cook. We're going to let it cook for about 20 minutes. So I'll set my timer. And the timer still actually works on this, which is great. So about 20 minutes. During that time, we're going to cook the seafood. Okay? We're going to use 3 types of seafood for this. We're going to use shrimp, we're going to use, which we're going to steam, and then we're going to use mussels, and we're going to use clams. The mussels and clams are going to boil, the shrimp we're going to steam, all of which are raw. Oh, Phoebe has joined us. Hi, Phoebe. So Phoebe has joined us. Of course, as you know, she's our helper dog. While we're doing this, I'm going to stir this real quick again. You want to try and keep it from sticking on the bottom until it cools down and stops really boiling, which will only be a couple of minutes, to be honest with you. So a couple of times stirring before you keep the lid on it for the full 20 minutes for the rest of the time is just fine. So what I'm going to do is I have the steamer already filled with water, and I have my pot filled with water. So I'm going to go ahead first, and I'm going to turn my pot on to boil. It'll take a little bit to boil the water to put the clams and the mussels in, okay? And then the steamer's behind it with the shrimp. So once we do that, I'll show you how that all works. We'll put the camera back down, show you all of that, and we'll make this dish and we'll get it all ready. Paella is a dish that you can use a lot of different things in. Again, paella is kind of a generic term. I spilled a little bit of water, sorry. It's a generic name for, frying pan. So really anything cooked in that. There are some staples to it. It's Spanish type rice with some seasonings, things like that. But you can do a meat paella, which could be chicken or beef. You can use sausage. A lot of paella, especially a Salvadorian paella, uses sausage in it. Not a big fan of sausage in my paella. I do like the chicken and what have you. You can use scallops in it. You can use the shrimp, mussels, clams, which we are going to use. You don't want to use fish. That's not really all that good. But you can use pork slices in there as well. So really, it's a rice dish in a frying pan. That's called a paella dish. And from there, it's really what you make of it and how you add to it. The great thing about it is there's so many different ways to add different things to it. So if there's something that you really like meat-wise and you like the Spanish rice, which if you've watched our episodes before, you probably saw me make the Spanish rice a few months back. So we've already made this, and we'll probably use it in other recipes down the road too. So we like to try and pull all the episodes together. So even if you haven't seen the last one, it makes you want to go back and watch what we did with the last Spanish rice. So that's what we're doing here. And then we're going to make the seafood. We've also done these different seafoods in the past past episodes as well. So nothing we haven't done, but just in a different setting that we're doing right now. So I'm going to pause us, wait for the water to boil. I'll come back and we'll do our next step, and I'll show you what's next. Thanks so much. Sit back, and I'll be right back. All right, the water's just about ready to boil. We've got about 10 minutes left on the rice. So what I'm going to do, I'm also going to turn on the water for my steamer because we want to try and get the shrimp and the mussels and the clams all done around the same time. If you've watched our episodes in the past, when we did the clams and mussels episode, a couple things to remember. One, you can put them in the same pot of boiling water. They cook about the same amount of time, so that's fine to do. And secondly, and this is really, really important, and I said this last episode, but I want to make sure, I'll say it every time we use mussels and clams. Make sure that when you're cooking, after you're done cooking, it only takes about 4 to 5 minutes to cook the clams and mussels. When it's done, when you drain the water, whatever of the mussels or clams that have not opened, those are bad. You cannot pry them open and eat the ones inside. The only ones you can really eat are, of course, the ones that have opened during the cooking process. That goes the same for if you steam or boil them. The reason being, if they're not opening when cooking, they're just not good. So, and there will always be some in your batch that you get that are like that, and it's just the way it is. Shrimp, we use raw shrimp. We actually get it from the same place I get my fish and my seafood and my clams and mussels. You get it from my fishmonger. Everything's fresh. And the shrimp will be a nice pink if you've watched me make shrimp before. Again, nice pink and a little bit curled. That's how you know that's done. The shrimp won't go bad while it's cooking, or it won't. There's not a piece of shrimp that will not cook all the way through when you're cooking it, so you're okay with that. But when you're talking about the mussels and clams and other seafood like that, if they're not opened from the cooking process, don't use them, throw those out. So you want to also make sure you have enough because you will lose some in the process. It's just the way it is. So anyway, my water's boiling. I'm going to go ahead and push this down. And I'm going to first, I'm going to reach out a frame here. I'm going to take the lid off. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the mussels, and then I'm going to reach back into my bag here, and I'm going to get my clams, Put them all in there. Again, 4 to 5 minutes of cooking time. Little suckers don't want to come out of the bag here. Again, they're all fresh. There we go. This little sucker didn't want to come out. So they're all fresh. I'm going to put the lid back on. You don't need to stir it or anything like that. Just let them cook, let them boil, and just keep an eye on your timer as well. As that's doing it, the water in the back there for the steamer is heating up. And this will start to boil again as well. So you can look at the rice, by the way. You can see the rice is actually almost, well, let's get the steam out of the way. You got to work on that. Right now you're probably seeing a bar going across the bottom of the, during editing we tend to put corrections and the ticker bar on the bottom. So you might be seeing one of those. But anyway, is there one there? No, I'm just looking. Anyway, you might see it looks almost done. The water, the moisture is almost cooked out. The chicken broth and the salsa liquid part is almost done. So that's good. Checking my steamer. Not quite there yet. Actually, and I said you don't need to stir the clams and the mussels, but I'm going to make sure they're all in the water because I just realized some were sticking out above. So do that and let those cook. You want to wait for it to reboil before you really start to count that 4 to 5 minutes. So the water will boil here very shortly, and then we'll drain it after it cooks fully, and then we'll try all the food and be good to go. Actually, since we got about 4 minutes left to go on the paella, the rice part of it, I'm going to actually turn it off because my burner actually will stay warm long enough to cook that last 4 minutes, and I don't want it to burn on the bottom. So it looks like it cooked a little faster than I expected. So I'm going to do that. Checking my steamer. It's not quite ready yet. We'll see the steam come out when it's ready. Get that boiled and going. And I'm going to pause, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and show you. So this is what... I'll get the steam out of there. This is what the clams and mussels will look like. You can see they're open. Okay, so they're done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Still waiting actually for my steamer to heat up completely, get the steam going. The good thing is shrimp will only take a couple of minutes for the let me turn that off. It'll take a couple minutes for the shrimp to actually steam because again they're fresh and they are detailed. Detailed? They have the tails removed, they are deveined, and they have the shells removed as well. It makes it really easy to eat. My fishmonger does all of that, which is really nice, which is great. Okay, so now we can actually put the shrimp in here. So I'm going to take this and put the shrimp in the steamer. Let that steam. And while that's doing that, I'm also going to drain the clams and mussels. Get that out. Sorry, I'm out of frame again. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to drain this. I'll be right back. You want to use the biggest colander you have because, again, there's a lot of shellfish here. Put this back in here. I'm going to put this back over here just to sit. Yeah, we'll put it there to sit. So the shrimp is actually cooking right now. Rinsing my hands off because I had it. So I just want to take a moment to show you. You can see, well, that shrimp is finishing up cooking. You can see, like these opened, that's good. Actually, a lot of these opened, which is kind of, oh, wait. Here's one. You can see this one did not open. You can see the difference between open and not open. I know it sounds stupid, but open, not open. This one is no good. This one you can't eat. So you can't try and pry it open and then eat the inside. This one is a bad mussel. Bad mussel. Bad mussel. Okay, now I know for sure there's actually a ticker going on the bottom of the screen. But anyway, so this one you're not going to eat. Okay? So we'll leave those there. The shrimp, as I said, you want to do it till it turns pink. So I'm going to pause this real quick, and then we'll come back when it's pink. It only takes a few minutes, and then I'll put it onto a plate, We'll try it and we'll go from there. All right, welcome back. The shrimp is almost done. The good thing, and I've talked about this before, my steamer has a glass top, so I can see when the shrimp is almost done. I can look in and see how it's coming along. So again, pink all the way around, and it actually curls up. When it curls up and it's pink, you know it's done. Again, just a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. I also want to take a quick moment and show you, as I was going through the mussels and clams, sometimes you get clams or mussels that show like this. When they were open, there's nothing in them. It's not because that they actually had nothing in them, they were just empty shells. It really is that when they opened up, they probably fell to the bottom of the pan or the pot while they were cooking. So as I go through this and as we serve it, I'll probably find some clams and mussels without homes. So that's really what that's about. But again, it looks like Manila the shrimp. The shrimp is just about done, so I'm going to go ahead and grab, well, let me take, before I do that, I'm going to take another sip of my Pinot Grigio. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the lid off of that, of the rice dish, and I'm going to take a little bit of the rice, put them on my plate, okay? And you can see, which I'll show you in just a moment here. Let me show you. So you can see it is red. So looks like Spanish rice. That's what the salsa does. Now again, saffron and some other spices will do the same thing, but to be honest with you, hi there. It's just easier to do it with the salsa. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my steamer off because the shrimp is done. I'm going to take a few of my mussels and my clams, and one of my clams just jumped out of its shell. So as I said, it's not because there was nothing in there. They fall out when they cook sometimes. So do some of that. I'm going to take the lid off of this. I'm going to grab a little bit of my shrimp. I tend to like shrimp more than I like the other stuff, but that's just me. So I'm going to grab a fork here. Take a step back. And you can see, let me show you what it looks like. Show there. So it looks like that. So really, it's just you got your shrimp, you got your mussels, you got your clams, and of course you can see a little clam that jumped out there right there. So on top of the rice. So, hi again. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to take some rice with my clam and a piece of shrimp, and I'm going to give it a shot here. Amazing. Taking some of the rice in there. Amazing. As you can see, easy. Not a big, long process to make. As we always do in Cooking with Michael, the recipes are designed to be easy, quick, tasty, not real expensive, of course, and really designed to be able to spend a good date night with your loved one, your spouse, your wife, what have you. My wife, as I always say, it is finishing up with the boys, reading them their stories and putting them to bed. She'll come down, we'll pour some Pinot Grigio, and we will have a great night with great date night with our paella. So, again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching every week. Coming up, we've got some things down the road that we'll be doing. One of our users asked for fish tacos, so we'll be doing that. I'm actually going to have a guest host for that one. I have a very good friend of mine who is from Mexico City, and she makes an amazing fish taco, better than I can make. So I'm going to have her on here as well. You know who you are, and you just probably found out now that I'm going to have you on. Again, probably another ticker on the bottom. But we're going to do some Bolivian food. We're going to do a location with one of my best friends who's from Bolivia. She's going to show us how to make some great local meat from Bolivia. We're not going to Bolivia. We're going to her house, but no. Still as location as you can get. We're going to do some dessert night, actually, where we kind of skip the whole idea of the food and go right to the desserts. So we've got a lot of things coming down the pike. So hold on one second to move my cat, who's about ready to eat. The rice, got him out of the way. Yeah, so keep watching. And again, keep sharing with everybody. I really appreciate those of you who are showing other people. And of course, the more people that are joining in, they're subscribing, they're liking, they're commenting. And that's allowing us to show up on other feeds. So, and if you saw my commercial I did before this, where I talked about, first of all, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving before Thanksgiving, but also letting you all know we have put the ingredients in the description of each of our videos, and we'll continue to do that going forward. Thanks to our consultant, Melissa, who suggested that and has been very instrumental in helping me put all this together. So on behalf of all of us that are part of Cooking with Michael, again, I'm just going to take a quick thanks to Melissa, my wife Candace, who's my producer and director, Mannion Family Productions, who has helped fantastically with some lighting and camera shot angles. These are people that are not local to us either. They're all over the country, and they're helping us out. And of course, I want to thank Andrew, my wine guy, Nellie, who did our logo, and just everyone who has been watching and everyone who is joining in. So thank you again. Please, please, please share. Please get people to watch. I think I think it's a great thing. Oh, and I do want to give one shout out. One of my subscribers, Trini Can Cook. I hope you're watching on a regular basis, but I did see your 1,000 subscriber video that you posted. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers. I can't wait till I can get to that part as well. So, we're seems like a ways away, but doesn't necessarily have to be that far away, because we, of course, more people that share, we can get there quickly. So I'm striving to be like you. So congratulations on your 1,000 subscribers. And of course, those of you who are watching my video, please share again. And I really appreciate everyone watching. Enjoy your date night, enjoy the dinner, enjoy the paella, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday, 8 p.m. on Cooking with Michael. Have a great, great evening, everyone. Good night.